And we are here. Happy Continued Momentum Monday, coming at you live with an espresso episode. Today, it is a solo espresso. And you know what? Today, we're going to be talking about how do you handle those moments when you get thrown off. So I want to share with you a couple of things. What I want to share with you is that this morning, my morning got thrown off in multiple ways. And if you have ever gotten thrown off, then you might be experiencing what I am experiencing in this moment. And what I chose to do for today's espresso is to actually pivot in today's conversation, because I want to speak to you based on what's in my heart rather than what's in my head. Because if you know anything about Erin and myself, my name is Sarit. By the way, if this is the first time you're watching, is that we are real people just like you. And yes, we feel overwhelmed. Yes, we fall off track. Yes, we are imperfect. And write this down if you have a notebook right next to you. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. I'll repeat this again so you let that sink in. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. So I'm not sure what is the word that you could use to describe how you're heading into this week. As a matter of fact, for those of you guys who are with me live, I would love to know from you guys, like if you could describe the feeling that you're feeling as you're heading into this week. What is that feeling? I'll tell you what my feeling is. It's overwhelmed. What about you? Okay, because if you're feeling overwhelmed, today's conversation is going to hit right home. If not, then great. It might not. Okay. However, we've all been overwhelmed at one point or another. Yes? Okay. So I'm going to be speaking at least to one person who is feeling the same exact way. Okay. So for those of you guys who are feeling overwhelmed, I would love to know, like, why is it that you're feeling overwhelmed? I'll share with you why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. This recording started late because I ran behind on a conversation. And Erin had a prior commitment, which means that my other half is unavailable to step in and support with regards to that, right? So, whenever we feel overwhelmed, I believe that we all have that. We have two voices inside our head. We have our boss voice and we have our little bitch voice. And the little bitch voice is the voice that, brings up all these insecurities, right? And the boss voice is that voice that makes you feel confident and makes you feel like you can back squat 300 pounds, even if you've barely squatted 150, even one time in your life. Yes? Okay. So when I feel overwhelmed, my little bitch voice gets really, really loud. Okay. And whenever it gets really loud, that some of the things that it says, and as you're hearing me share with you what I am feeling, I want you to think about your own voices, right? Because how you manage these voices is going to determine what's going to come out on the other side. Because remember what we said a couple minutes ago is that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. You hear me? So the voices that become more predominant is that you're not good enough. What you do does not matter. Who are you to even, feel like you're credible because you're struggling. I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm starting this way late. For a very long time, I always used to be late for everything in my life. And when I would feel that overwhelm, I used to ignore it. No longer do I ignore it. However, it still feels like garbage. I hate that feeling, you guys. I appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable. And every single day, I try to do everything that I can to step away from it so that I can show myself that I am better and that I am not the person that I used to be. But here's the reality, you guys. I'm still going to fall short. And I fell short because I was in an intimate conversation with somebody who needed my help. And I felt like the only right thing for me to do in that moment is to listen. Rather than saying, sorry, I know you need me, hold on. Let me go to that next thing. We did have a different plan. However, things shifted, right? So, it's tough. It's tough. You can do all of your meal prep and say, oh my gosh, okay, this week I'm going to be great. And then before you know it, you don't hear your alarm because maybe you're in deep sleep and you sleep through your alarm. You skip your workout. You rush through your morning. And then before you know it, you didn't bring your lunch. And now you're like, oh shit. And then you go about your day, you do the right things, you missed your lunch. So you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe today I'm just going to skip lunch. Though you know that when you get hangry, you may make a compromise decision, but you're like, dude, no, I'm stepping up. I'm going to do the best that I can. And you do the best that you can. And what happens? You skip your lunch, you do an amazing job, but you're starting to feel agitated. You're starting to get hangry. And then what? As soon as you get home, before it's dinner time, you eat everything that's around you. And then the binging begins. And then the emotional eating begins, right? So I share this with you because when there's tension in your life, when there's pressure in your life, how do you manage your mind? Do you press off the gas pedal? Do you park your car or do you keep driving? Even when you have to turn on your windshield wipers. I'm giving you guys an analogy. And I did have a plan for today's coaching, but I felt like it was appropriate for you to see how I coach myself because I'm a real person who is just like you. And sometimes you can do everything the best that you can and you're still going to freaking fall short. So what are you going to do? Are you going to beat yourself about it? Or are you just going to do the best that you can with what you've got? So I took notes before I got on today's video because I really wanted to walk you through what's in my mind. Why do we feel overwhelmed? I believe that we feel overwhelmed for a couple of reasons. Number one, because you had an expectation. My expectation going into today was that at 10:30, I will start this video. Based on what I was walking into, knowing that today there was nobody else that could step in for me. I felt like I had to stay in the moment that I was in and help that person. So while I did have an expectation, I fell short on my expectation. I want you to think for yourself right now. I share with you stories so you can ask yourself questions as you hear this. When was the last time that I had set for myself an expectation in this journey? and I fell short. How did I feel in that moment? What was my expectation and how did I feel in this moment? So, maybe the expectation was, okay, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. so I can get in my workout before work. Or maybe the expectation is, on Sunday, you're going to meal prep. So you're going to be able to have your meal set in place for the week. I don't know what expectation you have set for yourself. Or maybe your expectation was, I'm going to have a cup of coffee when I wake up in the morning. And then before you know it, your coffee spills on you. When we fall short on our expectation, we tend to feel overwhelmed. Yes? How does that make us feel? I don't know what your feelings are. I know that my feeling is frustration, anger, disappointment, and the little bitch voice gets really, 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 really loud, you guys. Yes? Okay, I see you guys in the chat. Keep talking to me. So, you get overwhelmed because you had an expectation and you fell short of that expectation. Reason number 2 is because you got thrown off. You did not follow through with the expectation that you had. Okay? I got thrown off from starting this video at 10:30 today. And I started it at what time? I think like 10:52, something along those lines. 22 minutes late. Okay, so you get thrown off. When you get thrown off, what is the feeling? Yeah, Michelle Full, I hear you. I hear you. So when you get thrown off, I don't know about you, but it feels messy. And if you know anything about me, you know that I don't like mess. Why? Mess and order do not live in the same room. Think about it. Just think about this place right now, or wherever you're at. Can that place have order and be messy at the same time? Have you ever seen a living room or a kitchen that is messy but still has order? No. Because mess is a manifestation of lack of order. Right? So whenever we get thrown off, we feel like our order is all sorts of out of whack, right? Which is distracting because now we have to manage the things that are distracting us rather than focusing on what's straight ahead. Yes? And then the other thing is falling short. Falling short is not a good feeling, especially if you love to win, especially if you're a competitive, especially if you try to do everything that you can to win your day every single day. But I want to enlighten you for a second, because just because you fell short, just because you got thrown off, just because you did not live up to that expectation that you have set for yourself, in the grand scheme of things, that does not mean that you're not a winner. That does not mean that you can still not get that workout. That does not mean that your next meal can't be the next best meal of your life. So before I get into the next part, I want to remind you that where you're at does not have to be where you're going. Just because between the moments of 10:30 and 10:52, I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was falling short. I felt like I didn't live up to my expectation because I was supposed to be in 2 places, but I am only one person. That does not mean that the rest of my day has to continue going on that path. As a matter of fact, not only will that be a disservice for me, but that will be a disservice for you guys who are watching this video right now, and for everybody else whom I get to see and experience later today. Just because you had an unfortunate minute or situation does not mean that the misfortune has to continue. Now, the problem is that whenever we feel like we've fallen in the trap of misfortune, or when things didn't go our way, because we feel emotional about it, we're actually, instead of leaning into the pressure and walking into the fire, we're letting our emotions pull us away from the pressure. And what it actually does in the grand scheme of things is it takes you back one step. And this is why sometimes you can be on such a good roll, And that's why I told all the coaches, for anybody who currently works with the coach, just go ahead and drop coach. This is why, with our coaching team, I told everybody starting Thursday, I'm like, let's start, planning each and every one of your clients for their success going into the weekend, especially because we're heading into Cinco de Mayo weekend. Because sometimes all that it takes is for one thing to create your next slippery slope, or as we like to call it, the dance on the banana peel. Because we're all, for better and for worse, one decision away. And it is the next decision that you're going to make, you guys, that is the most important one. The next decision that you make is the most important one with regards to the trajectory of where it is that you're going to go. So, what's in the past is in the past. There's nothing that we can do about that. But what decision you're making right now that is going to determine where you want to go, or that's going to determine where you're going to go. And the reason why I chose to, rather than talking about how to lose weight without losing your mind, rather to talk about how to overcome overwhelm, is because when there is current empathy with the message that you're sharing, the message lands better. Who's getting value from today's conversation? Just go ahead and drop a V. So I want to get to the next part, because you're one decision away from changing your trajectory, whether it's with your weight loss, whether it's with regards to your body, whether it's with regards to your relationship, whether it's with regards to your life. We're all one decision away. Good. I'm so happy to hear that, you guys. So happy to hear that. Stephanie, Nicole, Kara, Barbara, Angela, I see you guys. What I want to share with you is, whenever you get into those moments and you feel like you've fallen short, what do you do next? What did I do in that moment? When you're feeling shameful, embarrassed, frustrated, maybe angry, whatever that word is, once you feel overwhelmed. Like, what is the feeling for you when you feel overwhelmed? I'd love to know from you. For me, the feeling is shame. Like, I feel so ashamed, I want to do this. Like, at the beginning of this video, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to show my face to anybody right now. Just being honest, right? What did I do though? You go do that video. You got no choice. You put yourself out there and you be uncomfortable about it. Hopefully, you will find strength. Hopefully, you'll be able to empower. And this is not about me, this is about you guys. However, when the message relates, value is being added. So I want to say thank you, guys. Because regardless of how ashamed I felt 20 minutes ago, you're still getting the value. It is not about how we're feeling. It's about what we do when we are feeling what we're feeling that is going to determine what's coming up next for us. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? So when you're feeling whatever you're feeling, I want to read what you're saying. Sabotage, mental overload, frantic and anxious, anxiety. Yep. Frustration. Okay. Big word. Self-inflictly wounded. First, you want to do the thing. Do the thing that you're feeling frustrated about. Do the thing that you feel anxious about. Do the thing that you feel ashamed about. Leave your emotions at the door and continue to do what you've got to do. And when you do what you do the best that you can with what you've got. And that was the inspiration and the change the topic. Because I'm not going to walk up to you guys. I think, if like one thing about Aaron and I that we hear very often is that you guys are so real. What you see is what you get. You're the same, like in real life as you are in front of the camera, which is absolutely true. I do not know how to do fake. So me coming to you and trying to inspire you with goodbye fad diets, how to lose weight without losing your mind, will be me having I don't want to call it a fake conversation, but having a conversation that's not fully on my heart in this moment. Right? Because what I really needed to confront is my human moment. And how do I coach myself through it to continue to rise up from it? Because it happens for each and every one of us. You are going to meal prep and you're going to forget your lunch. You're going to set your alarm and you will still not be able to hear it. You are going to prepare for your exam and you're still going to fail. You are going to go through a strength cycle and you're still not going to hit your PR. How do you manage your mind in those moments, and what do you do in those moments? That is going to determine the next chapter that you're going to write in your book. Yes? Yes. So you continue to persevere. You get back and you do the thing that you don't want to do despite of what your emotions tell you to do. You guys, we heard this. We heard one of our mentors say this. 95% of all human errors are made simply because the person was emotional and made an emotional decision. What if I let my shame cripple me to not show up for you guys? Would you lose trust in me as your leader? Yes or no? And no heart, no foul. I'm just being honest, right? And that's why I felt ashamed, because I did not show up on time. But I was doing an act of service. So it felt right. You are going to fall short no matter what. It is how do you handle yourself in those moments that is going to determine the next chapter that you're going to write. So what do? I do the thing anyways, in a way that is most authentic. Yes. And what will I do for the rest of my day? I'm going to continue stacking my wins. I'm going to continue leading my day with the expectations and the plans that I have set for myself. We do not let go of the gas pedal. Just because we had a flat tire and we had a small setback where we had to jack up our car does not mean that I do not get to drive to my destination by the end of the day. So I want you to think for yourself and ask yourself a question, because I share with you stories to empower you, inspire you, let you know that you're not alone, but also help you to think and plan in advance better, because we're all humans. And by the end of the day, life is a series of decisions. Every single day in our life, you guys, every single day in our life, we make 77,000 decisions on average. Okay, so in a matter of 1 year, look at this. This is nuts. We make 28 million decisions. I bet you that the next number that I'm going to get, I will not even be able to read to you because it's going to be some kind of power. Let's say you live up to be 76 years old, okay, which is the average age of an American. To the something to the power of 9. We make trillions of decisions throughout our lifetime. And based on wherever it is that you want to go, whether it's with your weight, whether it's with regards to your relationships, whatever it may be. If you want to go to a higher place than you currently are, all that's required of you is, write this down, is to make better decisions more frequently. That's it. Make higher quality decisions more frequently. That's all you've got to do. It's not about where you're at. It is about the quality of your decisions over time that is ultimately going to determine where you want to go. Because by the end of the day, we're all going to leave this planet in one way or another. And we can get so emotional about something, but by the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you left behind, because that's the only thing that's going to last behind you. So I don't know what happened for you this weekend. I don't know what you're currently walking through in your life. But what I do know is that where you are right now is not necessarily where you ought to be. And what I do know is that you are the only one who can change it. Sometimes you might not know how to change it. And that is the power of mentorship. And that's why you're here today. So, depending on what's coming up for you right now and based on what you're walking through in your life, if you're feeling overwhelmed, just remember, it's probably because you set some kind of expectation and you fell short. It's because you got thrown off for some reason, right? Or you just know that you fell short of whatever the plan was. Okay? All you got to do is you got to get back to it ASAP. Life is a series of decisions, and you need to very damn well make it a point that your next decision is going to be your best quality decision. Your next decision is going to be your best quality decision. So, as we head into this brand new week, there's something that I want you to think about. Set an intention, not an expectation. This is why so many people fall short with regards to weight loss. They set an expectation rather than an intention. They heard that because Susie, who's down the street, who is at a similar weight, who weighs 40 pounds less than them, is supposed to be the same amount of weight that they should weigh. That's not the point. What is your intention for this week? What are you going to do to move ahead? Whenever we fall short of our expectation, we get disappointed. Whenever we focus on our intention, we rise up. How do you want to live your life? Rising up or feeling disappointed? I don't know about you, but going into today, I had an intention. So I'm leading with that rather than fall to my emotions. So ask yourself this question. Fast forward going into the rest of this week. What needs to happen in order for me to consider this a win? Get clear on that and follow through. And by the way, if you know that follow through is an issue for you, and that is something that you need help with, please go ahead and drop help in the comments. I want to see you. If you know that follow through is an issue for you and you need help with that, just go ahead and drop help in the chat so that I can see you. Okay? And that's what this is all about, you guys. It's about choosing to be better in the next moment than you were yesterday. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait till next month, because all you have is right now. Life is now. I hope you found a lot of value in today's conversation. If you did, please go ahead and share this with someone. Share this with somebody else who would find this valuable as well. We're here to help you guys, and I appreciate you being here. So remember this, set your intention for this week. Fast forward to the end of this week. What do I expect for myself to accomplish in order for me to consider this week a win? And do the best that you can with what you've got. When you get emotional, get back to it as fast as possible and stack your wins. That's it. If it was easy, you guys, everyone would do it. Greatness was not meant to be convenient. All right? So that being said, have a beautiful week. It was an absolute honor and a pleasure to guide you in your journey today. I believe in each and every one of you, and let's go make this your best week yet. You ready? Much love. Take care.